Okay, so now I know I've talked enough about the Wildlife Center and you want to learn about Buddy. So, again, just like you get a feel, how many of you are familiar with Buddy already and his story? Okay. All right, so most of you. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Buddy is, he's a very famous bald eagle. He's a celebrity of sorts, and he was born in 2008 at the Norfolk Botanical Gardens. His parents had built a nest. It was on camera. People all over the world were able to watch him, and as they watched as he was hatched, as he grew up, as his parents took care of him, and the people watching noticed that he had a larger growth on his beak, on this side of his beak, on the left side of his beak, and it turns out he had something called avian pox. He was infected with the avian pox virus, which is transmitted through mosquitoes. So a mosquito essentially had bit him, and it transmitted this virus, and the lesion was a pox lesion. So he was brought to the Wildlife Center for treatment. And turns out that the lesion, we did give him supportive care, he did recover, but the lesion on his beak caused permanent damage to the growth plate in his cere, and the cere is the top part of their beak, where their nares and their nostrils are. And the left side of his beak grows more slowly than the right, so his beak is permanently crooked, which makes it a little bit difficult. If he was a wild eagle, if he was living out in the wild, he'd have a hard time eating on his own. So he's a non-releasable bird. He's otherwise healthy. He's flighted. He's not sickly in any way. He just has a crooked beak. And he wouldn't be able to eat on his own in the wild. So what we do for him in captivity is we cope his beak about every 5 or 6 weeks. And coping is essentially sanding down the beak. So we use a Dremel. Is everyone familiar with a Dremel tool? It's like a little sander. It looks like a little nail file almost, spins around. And we sand down his beak so that he's able to eat without the assistance of humans. And you'll see his beak, obviously, when I bring him out. You'll see how crooked it is if you're not familiar with it. But we do it every 6 weeks so that he's able to eat without us having to hand feed him. And in the wild, he might not have survived past having the pox lesion. He might not have made it through without supportive care, and he definitely wouldn't have survived without this continued care from humans. So today, Buddy, he just had his 5th birthday, April 27th, his fifth hatch day, sorry. So he hatched 5 years ago in 2008 on April 27th, and he's now 5 years old. So in the wild, by their 5th year, eagles are usually considered adults, although I'm not sure. I think he's a teenager, if I had to guess. So by their 5th year, they have their 5th year molt. So in eagles, when they're juveniles, when they're young, they have brown feathers, and as they age, they molt their feathers, they shed them out, and they grow in white feathers on their heads and their tails. And also as they age, their eyes turn from a dark brown to a lighter yellow. And for every bird, this can vary. Some have very light eyes, some have less light eyes, some have very white heads, some have less white heads. But usually you can tell the age of a bald eagle by looking at their plumage for those first 5 years. So when I bring him out, you'll notice he is starting to molt, but he hasn't started to molt any of the feathers on his head or his tail, but he has started to molt some of his wing feathers and body feathers. And a good note about this is, I know that buddy feathers would be awesome, but it is illegal to keep them, so if he happens to spread his wings and he throws a feather at you, it's not, he's not giving you the feather. I need that back. I just want to point that out. But it will go to good use because I use them in education programs for children, just so everyone's aware. But you do need to have special permits to keep those feathers. So just so that's out there, in case you happen to get one, because he has been doing that lately. He spread his wings the other day, and I was walking with someone at work, and it was their small child, and he's like 5 years old, and Buddy spread out his wings, and a feather flew out, and the kid picked it up, and he said, "I can't have this." So he knows. That's how you know he's a Wildlife Center child, because he knows the laws at 5 years old. So I'm ready to get him out. So what we're going to talk about today is his training process. So at 5 years old, we're really just starting a formal, official training plan for him. So in the past, he has had other trainers, but it's only very recently that we have begun training him to be taken out on programs. So he's last year he was in one program. He was used at one public event. This year so far, he's been at Jack Hanna. He was at a Riverfest program in Waynesboro, Virginia, and he will be here twice today, and he'll be in a program tomorrow. It's his first school program. So I'm really excited. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm also really excited. And yeah, okay, so I'm going to get him out, and then I'm going to get started. I have a little PowerPoint, and if you're familiar with the website, a lot of the pictures that you're seeing in this slideshow are on the website as well. Some of them aren't. Some of them are from my personal files of like weird buddy pictures I've taken. But
can we take pictures while you're doing that?
Yes, you can take pictures. Yeah. This flash is fine. Yep. So, and I also want to point out that this is a new carrier for Buddy. So, there's a company called Forest Hawk that made this for us, and it's a true falconry carrier. The Eagle Challenger at Dollywood. Is anyone familiar with that? So the Eagle Challenger at Dollywood has a carrier just like this. Same company built it, and it's really fancy. Somebody called it a Cadillac. It's like the Cadillac of carriers. It has vents. It has it's completely blacked out, which is ideal for carrying a bird. It should be completely blacked out, so they're not nervous. Basically, with birds, if they can't see it happening, it's not happening. I wish I could do that. So he can't see anything right now. So, and I just want to remind everyone that this is only the second time that I've taken him out of this carrier. So I'm really sorry if it looks awful. I have no idea what he's going to do. He's generally very good about coming in and out of the crate, but this is a new crate for him, and it's a new experience. So this is like the ultimate training demonstration, because this is only the second time, which basically means you're watching me train him. Let's hope I don't screw it up. So I'm going to tie him in. I have a nice thick glove, and it actually, this is a good lesson. So I have one glove under here, and they sell gloves in 17 inches or 21 inches, and I went with 21 inches because I value my flesh. And so I have this nice big glove, and then this goes over it. It's called a gauntlet, the part that goes over it. So it protects basically where he perches on my glove, where he grips on, because he has very strong feet and very sharp talons. So I like to protect my hands.
How heavy is he?
He's about 7 pounds. Although, ask me later and I'll tell you, I think like 30. My arm gets really tired, although I've been getting so much better. I realize like now we have these little stands that you're able to rest your arm on. And I'll tell you this later. So I'm gonna tie him in actually. So he has this is his leash. I'm tying into my glove. There's a little ring, a D ring on my glove, and I can tie him to it so that he can't fly away.
How long is that part, the leash?
His leash? I don't remember. I think it's like maybe 18 inches. I don't remember. I have so many leashes. I'm not sure, but I think it's not very long.